Hello, I just figured I would do a tutorial on barehand bending, and it's going to be underhand style because I feel like that is kind of the safest. Of course, barehand bending isn't really all that safe, but you can make it safer, and that's what I'm kind of going to talk about. So the steel that I'll be using is a 3/16, and it's just steel that I found at the hardware store. I can't remember which hardware store, either Lowe's or Home Depot, I can't remember. But and the length that I recommend, you probably start about 8 inches, but 7 inches is kind of the spot that I find is if you go any lower than 7, it starts getting a little iffy on the safety aspect of it. So to start out, I don't recommend you go under 7 inches. So of course, when you're bending steel, you're going to want a tape measure. If you're doing underhand, you'll want a protractor. With underhand bending, the rule of thumb that I've seen is you bend it to, I think it's 40 degrees or less, and it might be under 40 degrees, but 40 degrees is kind of the mark to set. And if you're doing barehand bending, it does get iffy if you try to crush it all the way down. I have done it in the past, but your hands are going to be very sore from it. So the technique that I like to use is, first, you're going to have some bolt cutters. These are probably the wrong size for a lot of the steel that I cut, but they do get the job done. So go out and get yourself some good pair of bolt cutters. Make sure it's for the right size of steel that you're getting or that you're bending, because otherwise you're going to damage them. And then you're going to want to file. When you're barehand bending, you want to check the edges for any burrs that will cut you. You do not want to cut your hands. So you can see that this has some bad edges to it. So we will go ahead and we'll file that down until it's smooth. You do not want any burrs at all. Now when you get better at it, you'll be able to feel, and you may not have to file it down as much because you're just going to be able to gauge what you're doing. But until then, file all the burrs off that you can. And of course this is going to take a minute, and it's kind of time consuming, but it's better than tearing your hands up. And if you have, I don't have a garage, so if you have a garage and you have access to a grinder, you can do this much quicker. Probably do it in mass quantities. So at this time, I don't have access to a garage, so this is how I do it. So as you can see, that's much better. You'll run your finger, make sure nothing catches, and it feels pretty smooth. Now the other end, it was kind of already smooth to begin with, so it's not too bad. So always double check that before you start the bend. I will take this sticker off, if I can get it. Of course, this sticker's on there pretty good. Now let's try this. There we go. Alright, now with barehand bending, chalk is your friend. With bending in general, chalk is your friend, but with barehand bending I find it does help a lot. So what I like to do is I'll take the chalk and I'll work it into the metal. And this helps you get a really good grip on it. Now this makes a pretty big difference, so if you've never tried this, I do recommend giving it a try. So you're basically, you can see how it's starting to stick to the steel. You don't want your hands to slip at all, so I find that this does make quite the difference. Might take you, a minute or two to get it on there, but it is worth it. Now with barehand bending, I would recommend doing the whole bar, because you're going to be gripping the whole bar with your hands. When you use suede or anything like that, there's a barrier there, so wherever you would wrap is where you'd want the chalk. With the barehand bending, you're grabbing the whole bar. So, and I'll repeat this if I haven't said it already. I'm not an expert by any means. This is a hobby I've picked up, maybe about a year and a half ago. So there are much better benders out there. So if you get the chance, I do recommend searching for them. I'm sorry I don't have them all on the top of my head here, but I do recommend you look up all the information you can find on bending. And of course you're going to learn as you go as well. So alright. So I think this is pretty good here. So I also recommend picking up one of these. I found this one on Amazon for a pretty cheap price. So you can see it's cleared. There's the numbers, 0. Clear it out again. Alright. We'll check our angle here. So what you want to do first, chalk up your hands a lot. And what you want to do is you want to grab it to about the outside as far as you can without it digging into your fingers much. So I'll try to show you there. So it's about there. And you want to work it to about your fingertips so it kind of locks into place. And it may take a minute or two to get that feeling right. And once it feels like it's in a good spot, bring it in and just drive down. And as you can see, you'll measure it from the center there. And first make sure, yep. So the center of the bend, which some guys mark the center. I just don't. I probably should, but I just don't. So now if you wanted to finish this off, you just find a good position in your hand where it's not going to cut you and just work it down. And I recommend taking your time, doing it slow. Because all it takes is one mess up and you've cut your hand. Now while we got this, might as well try to snap it. So let's see. So snapping just takes time. Work that friction in there. Heat it up. When you're snapping, you'll feel it get easier and easier. Now, if your first time doing this, you might bruise your hands a little bit, but they will toughen up over time. You also want to be careful because it will start getting hot, so don't burn your hands. You'll kind of find a rhythm too when you're doing this. There we go. So not too bad. Hands feel okay. I've done this a few times, so you may, like I said, just watch when you're bending. Don't press it into there. Try to keep it as much at an angle when you're bending as possible. Because if you press it into your hand anywhere, you may bruise your hand. And you'll know when you bruise your hand. It hurts. So, like I said, just be careful. Take your time. And just find positions in your hands that don't hurt as bad. Every spot's kind of going to hurt when you're bare hand bending, but find the spots that don't hurt as bad. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. And good luck. Take care. Have a good day.